On the 14th of April, 2016, the then Provincial Health Officer, Dr. Perry Kendall, declared a public health emergency in British Columbia, following a significant rise in opioid-related overdose deaths since the start of that year. This was the first time such a declaration had been made under BC's Public Health Act and reflected the urgent need for a coordinated response. This new surge of drug overdoses comes from the mainstream popularization of fentanyl, a powerful synthetic opioid that is 100 times stronger than morphine and is supposed to be used to treat severe pain in the hospital, but only under supervision since it is so strong. Illicit drug dealers often mix fentanyl with other drugs like heroin, cocaine, or fake pills because it's cheap and extremely potent. Now this cuts costs and increases profits. However, since fentanyl is so strong that even a tiny amount can cause an overdose, and people often don't even know it's there, which makes using these drugs so much more dangerous and so much more deadly. For example, not so long ago, a man was arrested in Vancouver for the possession of cocaine, and when the police analyzed it, in that sample they found methamphetamine, fentanyl, Advil, and even baby powder. But the one thing that they did not find in that sample was actually cocaine. Now, this really goes to show that nowadays, you never know what can be in drugs. And that's what makes treating addiction so much more complicated and difficult because it's hard to diagnose. It's just so unpredictable. And medical professionals, they first have to figure out what substance someone has taken before they can even begin to start treating them. And that is a whole separate challenge on its own. And now this is where Turning Point steps in. Turning Point Recovery Society is one of BC's leading non-profit providers of bed-based and outreach addiction and recovery programs and services. And for 40 years, they've been providing the opportunity for people in need to escape this violent cycle of addiction that would otherwise not be possible. They offer a 3 to 5 month program for people who suffer from addiction to become sober and learn coping techniques so that they can avoid relapsing in the future. Turning Point then helps find suitable housing for these people. Here to the right is Rune Mikkelsen, the Director of Operations at Turning Point Vancouver, and this is Rob. He is the chef at Turning Point Vancouver House. He is a paid employee, but not too long ago, Rob was a resident at the house, and he, like many others before and after him, suffered from addiction. But with the help of Turning Point, he turned his life around. But how does one treat addiction? Well, various medication is of course used, but what's really the most effective way to treat addiction is through counseling, exercise, and doing nice things. And at Turning Point, residents do all sorts of activities that help them clear their mind, like cycling, exercise, going to the gym, going out to the movies. These are the kinds of things that help them recover. But treating addiction does not only help the individuals, it also has a profound impact on the community. Turning Point's efforts have led to a reduced strain on emergency services, because by providing effective treatment, there is a decrease in emergency room visits and interactions with the law enforcement. And they also provide economic benefits. Residents who recover often return to the workforce and thus contributing to the local economy. The $5,000 YPI grant would immediately benefit residents at Turning Point because they would be able to use the money to be able to do more activities, spend more time outdoors, and for example, they'll be able to go to the movies or even a restaurant. And it's these types of activities that help them recover because it's these real activities that are what helps, not medication. And this is how we fight the opioid crisis, by helping those charities who are at the front foot like Turning Point.